You are all set to go, Wendy.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the Bridgewater Conservation Commission. It is, oh my goodness, it is February 23rd, Thursday, and we now have a quorum, so we can open the meeting, and it is 5:42 p.m. For the record, the members and staff present are Harry Bailey, member, Sarah Sperber, member, Steve Solvo, the environmental planner, Nicole Salvo, executive assistant, and myself, Wendy Smith, chair. I will now read the governor's order for online meetings into the record. Disclosure pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. This meeting of the Conservation Commission for the town of Bridgewater will be hybrid and accessible to the public through remote participation to the greatest extent possible. There will be no public attendance permitted. Citizens who wish to tune into the meeting may do so via Zoom. Virtual Zoom meeting to attend via video. The link is listed on the bridgewaterma.org website. And that is that. On the agenda for tonight, we have under new business, public hearings, an amended order of conditions for 40 Oliver Place, map 101, parcel 34. We have a notice of intent, 0 Plymouth Street, map 26, parcel 24. Then we have old business, a notice of intent for 6 Aldrich Road, map 20, lot 77. And then outside of the public hearings, we have Conservation Commission business, administrative items, a certificate of compliance request through for Massachusetts Electric Company and New England Power Company. So first we will start with the new business, the amended order of conditions for 40 Oliver Place, map 101, parcel 34. And we have a legal notice. Did we need green cards for this?
The green cards were received, and I have the legal notice on the screen if you want to read it
Yep.
from there, or if you need me to.
Yep, no, I see it. 40 Oliver Place, legal notice, notice of public hearing, Conservation Commission, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Bridgewater Local Wetland Bylaw, the Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on February 23rd, 2023, held as a virtual meeting over Zoom. A link and instructions to participate in the meeting will, where does it go? Will follow?
Yep, we'll follow.
Yep, I have to move my little thing here. Will follow and be posted to the calendar on the town's website at www.bridgewaterma.org. A recording of the meeting will also be posted to the town's webpage within 48 hours after the meeting ends. The hearing is for a request for an amended order of conditions filed by Francis and Catherine Kimball. The applicant proposes to construct an addition to an existing residential dwelling, shed and associated septic system, utilities and grading. The property is owned by Francis and Catherine Kimball and is located at 40 Oliver Place, Bridgewater, Mass. Sorry for the train in the background. Map 101, parcel 34. Please contact the Bridgewater Conservation Office at 508-697-0950 for the hearing date and time. All interested persons are encouraged to attend. Thank you. So do we have an applicant? We have Representative ZCE. That's not easy to say fast. Consulting Engineers LLC. The DEP file number is SE 116-1490.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Bob Forbes from ZCE, Zenith Consulting Engineers, and I'm going to be representing the project tonight.
All right, thanks, Bob.
It's hopefully this one's a simple one for you. This is an amended order. And what we have is, so what you approved previously, I believe it was in 2021, for this house was the same thing, a proposed addition with one bedroom. Although recently the zoning bylaws in Bridgewater have changed, allowing a slightly larger in-law apartment. And they increased it up to 800 square feet. So the owners of the house would like to take advantage of that, and the proposed addition, one level addition, is slightly larger now and meets that requirement. The other changes that they're asking for, you can see a shed in the rear of the property. It's a 10 by 15 shed they're asking for. They were going to put that on and thought it would be a good idea to get blessed for that as well through this process. So the important things are, nothing has changed otherwise. No, the septic system is exactly the same as your commission had approved previously. The limits of the yard, in other words, the clearing limits are bounded by an existing stone wall. So nothing's changing as far as nothing's pushing out. The erosion control is exactly the same as your commission had approved for. So very simply, they're just putting on a slightly larger in-law apartment addition, and they've asked to add a shed in the backyard as well.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Forbes. Can I just, for clarity, is there anything additional being done with the septic?
No, nothing. The
Okay.
septic is exactly in the same location and exactly the same design as you had previously approved through the original order of conditions.
Okay, thank you. Steve, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Yes, I can add the fact that the staff of the Conservation Commission conducted a site visit. We had previously done one for the order of conditions that came through in 2021. The biggest factor on this, considering approval of the amended order of conditions, is taking into consideration that the limit of work has not changed from the last order of conditions to this one. So the only thing that has actually changed is the square footage of the addition and the placement of that shed, which the commission had previously already allowed and ordered the applicant to have the ability to alter that land on this site. So for me, there's honestly nothing different really going on, besides we are actually changing the plan of record that will be inserted into the file moving forward.
Okay,
So I would recommend issuing the amended order of conditions with no special conditions applying.
okay. Thank you, Steve. Commission members, Harry, do you have anything that you need to?
No,
would like to ask?
everything looks good there.
Okay, great. Sarah, do you have any questions or comments?
No, it looks good and that all sounds good to me.
Okay. And I'm good with the plan as it is, and nothing's really changing, and it all works for me. Do we have anybody that's in a butter that needs to share anything that you can see?
We would just ask that if anyone has any comments, that they use the raise hand feature or turn on their camera and get our attention if you'd like to comment. I am not seeing any.
Terrific. Well, with not having any other further comments, do we have enough information to close the public hearing and issue a determination?
I'll make that motion. Motion to close the hearing and to approve all of the place,
Okay, the amended order of conditions.
the amended order of conditions, yes.
Okay, thanks, Harry. And a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Sarah. So, Mr. Forbes, it looks like you're all ready to go.
Thank you very much. I'm actually on for the next hearing as well. So
Oh, yes, you are.
unfortunately, you're stuck with me for a few more minutes.
Well, that could be a good thing. All right, thank you. So
Yeah,
that's
I'd ask
closed.
you to tell my wife that. That would be very helpful to me.
Well, hopefully it'll be quick and painless, so we'll move on. So we have a notice of intent for 0 Plymouth Street. map 26, parcel 24. The representative again is ZCE Consulting Engineers LLC. So, Mr. Forbes, would you like to discuss this project? Oh, I got to read these. I assume that we got the green cards for these also?
Yep.
Yep.
And where am I with this one? Oh, it's over in blue. I gotta move my little box that has people's faces in it. I have to slide this thing back and forth. So 0 Plymouth Street, legal notice of public hearing, Conservation Commission, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Bridgewater Local Wetland Bylaw, the Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on February 23rd, 2023, held as a virtual meeting over Zoom. A link and instructions to participate in the meeting will follow and be posted to the calendar on the town's website at www.bridgewaterma.org. A recording of the meeting will also be posted to the town's webpage within 48 hours after the meeting ends. The hearing is for a notice of intent filed by Alan S. and Ann E. Chukran, excuse me. The applicant proposes to construct a new single-family home with associated septic system, driveway, utilities, grading, and landscaping within 100 foot of a bordering vegetated wetland, as well as within the 200-foot outer riparian zone and 100-foot inner riparian zone to an unnamed river. The property is owned by Alan S. and Ann E. Chukran and is located at 0 Plymouth Street, Bridgewater, Mass., map 26, parcel 24. Please contact the Bridgewater Conservation Office at 508-697-0950 for the hearing date and time. All interested persons are encouraged to attend. Thank you, Nicole. So, with that, Mr. Forbes, if you would like to discuss this property.
Thank you very much. And again, my name is Bob Forbes from Zenith Consulting Engineers. The builder on this project is Tony Shavs and Jay Gormley, and I have Jay with me tonight representing the project. Would it be okay if I shared my screen? It might make it easier for me to point to things. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Are you able to, or is it?
Can
okay.
you see that?
Yeah.
Yep, it's coming up. Yep.
Okay. I can't see what's can you see the screen now?
Yep.
Yes.
Am I
Yep.
cursor? Okay, thank you. And so this is the proposed, right now it's a completely undeveloped lot, and this is the lot in question here as I'm bringing the cursor around. It comes off of Plymouth Street, and it's right at the elbow that's created by East Street and Plymouth Street. This property is surrounded, this is again, it's a proposed single-family house that we're proposing to put here. And the Chukran family owns many homes in the area. So my understanding is that it's another Chukran who is proposing on building and living in this home. So it's kind of to become a family neighborhood here. It's already a family neighborhood, but they're adding another one. So what we did was, one of my associates and Jay went to the building inspector and talked about the possibility of coming in on the existing driveway here off of East Street and coming off of that to access this the new proposed dwelling. And the building inspector said that that was not a possibility, and that there were no common driveways allowed in Bridgewater. So we had to examine the other possibilities of getting into the site. And that, how it boiled down is we're proposing on putting a 10-foot wide driveway. We kept it 10 feet, so it would be minimum impact. We're able to grade. I'll show you a little bit more in detail on the blown up drawing, obviously, but there you can see in the 10-foot easement here, we're able to grade a little bit onto that easement to push it as far away from the riverbank as possible. And that's down here where my cursor is now. Now, obviously, that with also associated with the river is a BVW, and that's this line here. So the outer line is the BVW, and the one that's further away from what we're doing is the bank of the river. So what we're proposing again is a minimum width driveway coming off of Plymouth Street here, accessing the site. You can see here, let me blow this up a little bit, make it easier for you as well as me to see. 200-foot riverfront area extends to this blue line. We're able to keep the house completely outside that, and in everything associated with the house except for the access driveway. So in the riverfront area, we're asking for the approval to build this 10-foot wide driveway to access the house. Also, we understand that the commission likes to see the permanent BVW boundary markers, which we've shown here as well, to make that permanent marker delineating the upland to where the, you know, the limit of the work essentially.
Mhm.
Let me go up to the even more blown up version here. So you can see that what we've done is, so here's the BVW line here. I'm showing you with my cursor, 25-foot no activity buffer, which I know the commission likes, and the 50-foot buffer is here. So we were able to keep everything outside the 50-foot buffer for the BVW. Septic system is well outside that area, and the house as well. So we've kept the house and the 100-foot buffer is here. So you can see about half the house is outside the 100-foot buffer, and the entire septic system is outside the 100-foot buffer. So essentially, we're asking for the ability to construct half the house in, so let's say from the 70-foot, well, 68.7 feet from the wetlands to the 100-foot buffer, and then construct the access to the house along the property line, so we can get there, so we can get to the house.
All right. Thank you. Steve, would you like to comment?
Sure. First of all, yeah, Bob pretty much laid out the key components of this project proposal.
Mhm.
I think for the commissioner and for myself, it really boils down to a couple of main points. One is that the site is pretty tight. It reminds me of what we just went through, or the commission went through with the Auburn Street sites, where you have, you know, these long driveways leading back to a property that's set back off the roadway, and they happen to pass by wetlands along the way. Now, the difference on this one is that the riverfront area comes into play. And that's a key component because that creates the need for a alternatives analysis. So I read through the alternatives analysis that was provided by ZCE, and realistically, there's really only two alternatives here. Don't do it and don't have access to a house that is on a lot that is by right to build upon, or do it the way they did, which is using the smallest driveway with possible and allowable, putting it as close to the property line that is permittable and allowable, and also, you know, installing permanent silt fence and hay, or not permanent silt fence and hay bale, but a permanent line of disturbance that clearly shows the future homeowners where their limit of on-site activity will be. So as far as the site moving forward from this date after construction is done, I feel like this site will be probably better protected than a lot of sites in town because there will be that defining line between where they're allowed to do activity and not allowed to do activity, which I know that this is an issue that the commission has been trying to tackle lately. So this might give the commission a good case study in how these might work for you guys as you move forward permitting these proposals.
Mhm.
So I am in favor of this project simply because the lot's tight and it's a buildable lot. So, there's no major crossings needed. The applicants are doing everything in their power to make sure the impacts and the potential impacts are minimal at best. And I believe that they've done that. So with that being said, I would recommend that the Conservation Commission issue an order of conditions with standard conditions applying because the applicants have gone above and beyond what typical applicants do.
Thank you, Steve. Commission members, Sarah, do you have any comments or questions regarding this property?
No, Steve already answered one of my questions. But no, it looks good, and I appreciate that they, were taking the extra effort to put in the permanent structures.
Mhm. Thank you. Harry, do you have any questions
Yes,
or
I do.
comments?
Yeah.
Okay,
I would like to put a special condition. I can approve the project, but I'm gonna put a special condition in that the driveway have a slope away from the river so that if any chemicals are put down, they'll go on the other side and not the river side. I think that could be doable.
The only thing I would say, in general, we wouldn't have any problem with that, but the slope is so steep that if we did that, we'd be running the slope into the bank. In other words, creating like a puddle and ponding area up against that steep slope.
Like a ditch almost, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, we did.
Yeah, Harry, I think your intent is good, but I think I agree with the applicant on this because of the existing topography of the site. If you look Bob, do you still have ability to bring up the plan?
I'd be happy to if I still could share my screen.
Because you guys do have the existing layer laid underneath that you can see some of the topo.
Yeah, so can you see this again?
So the existing topo is
Yep.
already very, very steep, as Bob mentioned, towards the wetland areas. So
Right.
to
Mm.
change those, it would create a situation where we're creating almost a ditch / moat, which would become a potential hazard with mosquitoes. I think that there's enough room for this sheet runoff that will be very minimal at best, except if it's one of these real significant rain events, that there's enough land area that the infiltration will occur over sheet runoff over that surface area.
I would absolutely agree with that. And I just want to also confirm that the soils that we have looked at, obviously not in the wetlands areas, but as we start to come up this hill, we have very, very sandy soils. So as Steve mentioned, I think it's the perfect situation where we can sheet flow, meter the flow off, sheet flow it off the driveway, and we'll hit the very sandy soils. And unless it's a hurricane, a monsoon, you're not going to get water running down this hill. You're going to get it coming off this small driveway and leaching right into the sand right on the edge of the proposed driveway.
And Bob, what is the estimated distance between that stretch of the driveway and the actual unnamed river or stream? Is it,
Well,
it's like 160 feet?
yeah, we can, so it obviously it varies. Here's the 200-foot. So right here, we're 200 feet away, but here's the 100-foot riverfront area. So where my cursor is right now, yeah, I'm about 150 feet away from the river. Right here, obviously, we're 100. Right here, we're 200. So yeah, it varies, but you're exactly right. We do have that, and that not only is it sandy, but it's going to remain wooded and vegetated, especially with those permanent markers that we put out there.
So any runoff would be running into the ground, hopefully way before it hits the.
Yeah. In
Theoretically, yes.
surprisingly enough, I do a lot of drainage designs, and when you have very sandy soils like we have here, you have to get beyond for sandy soils in woods, you have to go beyond about a 10-year storm event, which is about 4.8 inches in this area, in a 24-hour period for there to be any runoff. So we're talking about a very large storm event before we would ever have anything running down the hill. And that, to be quite honest, that would be happening in the pre-development condition if we didn't put when you get that amount of rain, you're going to get that coming off the woods even without the driveway here. So
Mhm.
it's a good situation for sheet flow and infiltration, exactly as Steve had pointed out to the commission.
But
Okay,
I think what one suggestion I have is we can obviously monitor this very closely, and if there is a need for some sort of barrier or some sort of future need to stop water, if we notice that it's becoming an issue, we will certainly be able to circle back and address it. I just think the likelihood of that is very low. Between the vegetation and the amount of area that it has to cross before it gets down to the actual river, I believe the water will infiltrate / be treated. But that's just my professional opinion. So
okay. Thanks, Steve. Harry, does the
Yeah, that
explanation of
that
that
helps a
make you
lot
feel a
with the,
little better?
yeah, that helps a lot with the sandy soil.
Okay,
That should work.
all right. All right, great. So if there's anybody in the waiting room that has any comments or concerns regarding this property that's before us, if you can make yourself known to Steve, because he's the one monitoring.
so if you could just use your raise hand feature, we do have a question.
Okay, when Steve lets you in, the person that's asking a question or comment, can you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Pat, you're muted.
I unmuted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm observing so that I can try to see what these different commissions do. I just thought you might consider putting a restriction on the development so that they might be limited or prohibited to use any chemicals or ice melt in that area. We're trying to protect all of our woodlands and environmental areas, sensitive environmental areas. So, and I know Mr. Sobel is leaving, so I don't know who's going to be monitoring these after the fact. But that would be a simple solution if you put a prohibition on any, chemicals, ice melt, whatever.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Steve, do you have any thoughts on if that's
Wendy,
something?
can I just get a name and an address, please? I don't believe that
Oh.
was stated.
Okay. Pat, can you state your name again and address, please?
My name is Pat Neary and I'm at 225 Lakeside Drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I sigh because I think every commission wishes they could just order things and that's the way they would go. It's difficult to limit what a person who has a driveway this long, and in this climate that we live in, to limit the amount of what type of salt they use to clear their driveway. And especially with the fact that town roadways are all treated with salt and they're all near wetlands and culverts and other things as well. There shouldn't be any real hazardous chemicals, I would expect, on a residential property in the amount that would create a situation. I know that the commission can order anything specifically they would like. I just caution against specifying particular types of things because they're very difficult to enforce.
Mhm.
Because I don't know who would be checking what type of salt's being put down, what type of ice melt's being put down. And if the commission were to start that now, I think it creates a slope where
Mm.
others would expect it everywhere else. And then you create a situation where it's more for policy moving forward, I think. I think it's a great thing to investigate. I don't think in my opinion, it's not something the commission should be doing by a case-by-case basis at this point. I think if an internal policy was developed regarding appropriate materials to be used in these areas, and that could be broadcast amongst applicants and people proposing projects and residents, that's probably more appropriate. Because we have plenty of driveways like this in town that go by wetlands. And, just because this one came in front of you guys on February 23rd, 2023, and it has a different set of stipulations than other ones in town, it's tough. I think it's just better geared for a policy discussion, and then maybe an advisory to residents, again, just because it's difficult to enforce and police.
Well, we've asked in the past, we've asked people whose lawns, might be really close to
Yep.
BVWs, that they, to the best of their ability, use as much organic kind of material when they're treating their lawns. I mean, it could be something that we would just ask that the landowners, just be aware of what they're putting down and maybe not go with something that's really harsh, that they could try to go with something a little less, but really it would be up to them.
Yes, I agree with that approach. A suggestion, and hopefully at this point they take you up on the suggestion. There are communities that certainly do regulate the types of materials that can be put down. I would like to see their success rate in enforcing that. And a lot of communities do utilize policies regarding certain materials that can and cannot be used, but as a whole, not really as you are on our agenda tonight, therefore
Individual.
you get this
Right.
award for being here tonight.
Gotcha. Okay. So I believe that we've heard from everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Pat, for bringing that up. So is anybody else out there that you see with a hand raised?
I do not see anyone else right now.
Okay. So with no further questions or comments, are members of the commission ready to close the public hearing and issue, I guess, an order of conditions?
Motion to close the hearing on 0 Plymouth Street and order standard conditions.
Okay. To issue an order of conditions with, with standard conditions?
With standard conditions, yeah.
Okay. And that's for 0 Plymouth Street, map 26, parcel 24. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Sarah. And I didn't do this, I think, on the last one. Roll call vote. Sorry. Harry,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith, aye. All right. I'm sorry to ask this. Do we need to go back and do a roll call vote for the first one?
You should. I mean, and just in the future, you should have a
Yep.
separate motion to close the public hearing and then a motion to make, whatever action you're going to
Whatever
take.
motion's gonna, okay. All right. So going back to the first amended order of conditions for 40 Oliver Place, map 101, parcel 34. We had a motion to approve the amended order of conditions, and I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote. Harry Bailey,
Yes.
Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith, aye. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Forbes. You're all set now.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, you're welcome.
Take care.
You too. Old business, we have a notice of intent for 6 Aldrich Road, map 20, lot 77. The applicant representative is Alton Beach Silva Engineering. We have a letter asking for a continuance. Would like to request a continuation from February 23rd meeting to the next meeting scheduled for March 9th, 2023. The continuation will allow the commission to review and respond to the letter provided by SEA earlier today. If you have any questions or require any additional information, please contact me. Sincerely, Lawrence P. Silva, PE. I don't know if we talk about this or if we are just,
You
You
can't
know.
talk about it. That's not what was posted on the agenda. So I would just
make the motion to continue.
ask for a motion to continue to the date we discussed later in
Yep.
March.
Okay, so from commission members, we need a motion to continue until March 23rd. We're gonna go 2 meetings out, not next meeting, to give them time to come together and figure out what's happening. So we'll just need the motion to continue to March 23rd, and we're gonna say at 6 o'clock, but we will be able to make that a definite.
Motion to continue till March 23rd at 6 PM.
Okay, and that's for 6 Aldrich Road, map 20, lot
6
77.
Aldrich Road. Yep. Yes.
Thank you. And do we have a second?
Aye.
Thank you. And
Do a
do I
roll
do?
call, Wendy.
I do a roll call. So can I have a roll call vote? Harry Bailey,
Aye.
Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith. Aye. Thank you. That is continued to the 23rd at 6 PM. All right, and that is it for the public hearings. We do have Conservation Commission business, administrative item. We have a certificate of compliance request for Massachusetts Electric Company and New England Power Company, parts of Pine, Elm, Pleasant Streets, and Route 24. The representative is VHB Inc. The DEP file number is SE 116 -1503. Is someone here from that?
No, they're not gonna send anyone
Oh,
for
they're
something
not
like
gonna.
this. No. So this is typical of electric maintenance work. They're issued from time to time notice of intent for placement of materials, but sometimes they pull, depending on which municipality they're in. Bridgewater requires a lot of filings for things that other towns do not require. So with that being said, this was for some maintenance activities that they had along their corridor, which are typically exempt. Therefore, I recommend the issuance of the certificate of compliance.
Okay. Thank you. Commission members, anybody have any questions?
No.
No.
Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance?
Motion to issue the certificate of compliance. For the,
Okay. For Mass Electric Company?
Right. For Mass Electric Company.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Aye. I will second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote, Harry Bailey,
Aye.
Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith, aye. And that is it, I believe.
It is.
All
I
right.
specifically took off the environmental planners report.
Oh,
'cause I-
although I think I have 2 things that I need to bring up. So we might not have an environmental planner report, but I do have 2 things. One is Steve and I were out today to Pratt Town Meadows and looked at a BVW that has trees that have been cut down.
Mhm.
It appears to be a clear violation of, I don't know, I don't know why they did what they did. So we, I don't know, we need to ask that, I guess, staff would draft a violation letter to the responsible party at Pratt Town Meadows to appear in front of the commission to explain what they did and why they did it. And we might need to have some conversation about what they're gonna do to amend it. So is that something that, you know, Steve, Bob, Nicole, like, do you folks just, does somebody just do that letter? Is that
Yeah, I
something?
mean, I've reached out to the developer on some other issues that we have.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Nicole and I will handle that.
Okay,
Yeah, we have a standard letter that is pretty much boilerplate that allows for us to be able to just alert potential violators of the Wetlands Protection Act.
gotcha.
To get their attention, just so that they know the numbers to call, they know the staff to contact, they know the names that they need to talk to in order to get in front of these boards to discuss mitigation with you guys,
Mhm.
and go through those avenues to get this corrected. So
Okay. So then someone we'll talk about it at another meeting.
I'll be able to
Yeah.
give you an update at your next meeting,
Okay,
whether we got a response or not.
okay, great.
Wendy, I want to add something to that. I was on the original site walk where we did the wetlands. And I'm looking for my map. I have the original map. That roadway that they put in might be over the wetlands because they fill it all in with gravel and everything. So as soon as I find it, when I go down there, I'll look because I know where I was when I extended. There's a partial that goes in. It was me, Azu, Eileen. I think that was just three of us. And then the representative from Silver Engineering. So I
Mhm.
made a change because I found a spot that sort of looped in further, and it appears that the roadway is over it.
Okay,
But we'll look into that.
okay. Thanks, Harry. The other thing to bring up is a change of time for our meeting. Sarah, you're coming out of Boston?
Yes, I emailed Nicole today.
Yeah. So how?
So yeah, it's just tough. I mean, they'll let me out a little bit early, but obviously not early enough for me to get
Yeah.
for
No,
5:30.
we can change the meeting time.
What, well, like we said for this continuance that was put off to the 23rd, we said 6 o'clock. We have time that we can change that, I believe, but what time, what would be the earliest that you would be able to do it?
6 is definitely the earliest. I mean, 6:30 slightly more comfortable,
Uh-huh.
expecting chaos in my life,
Traffic.
but but six is definitely the earliest, and I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, things happen and you got a new job and you kind of got to roll with it, but all right, so I mean, what do people think? Like Eileen's not here. Next week, the next meeting, 2 weeks from now, it will be 5:30.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I mean, we
don't know
can
if
wait
you,
for Eileen. That's totally fine. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to make that decision without her. That's not fair.
yeah. And we need to give people, anybody that's putting notifications in or whatever, we have to give them time to be able to post the correct time and know what our time's gonna be. So, if I remember, I can try to reach out to Eileen before our next meeting. Just to give her a heads up maybe, and then we can, whether it's 6 or 6:30. We'll try to definitely set it by next meeting.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Wendy, can I
I
just
like,
add something?
early because it's over early, but I understand.
You
Go ahead.
listen, I don't disagree, Wendy. My
Yeah.
choice would really be like noontime, but
What were you gonna say, Bob?
Well, I just wanted to, I mean, as you all know, Steve will be leaving us as of next Tuesday. I've only had the privilege to work with him for 8 weeks now. I'm happy for him that he is pursuing something that he wants to do professionally. So I want to wish him well. You know, as we discussed today, Wendy, and for Harry and Sarah's benefit, we will do our best to bridge the gap until we have someone on board. But it's business as usual. But again, I just wanted to get on the record that congratulate Steve and thank him for his contributions to the town.
Thank you. Thank you.
Steve.
I've
Thank you,
enjoyed
Steve.
I've enjoyed working with you all. You know, this is the job that kind of got me back into municipal work when all's going to be said and done. So it's definitely gonna it's gonna hold a special place for a long time. And you know, business is business, and I just want, you know, I want more responsibility. I want you know, I want to do more than just conservation. So it's not that I don't like conservation. I'm not interested in it. I'm still gonna have this as my base foundation. But you know, I just want to be able to contribute more to our community. So hopefully I'll be able to do that.
Nice. Well, we wish you the best.
And
Thanks.
he's not going that far away anyway.
No, I'm not going
Yeah.
to.
Exactly.
So I'll be on just the other side of the ton. So don't worry about it. So if you need any help from that side of the river, I'll throw rocks at you from across.
Okay.
All right, so does anyone have anything else that they need to bring up?
No,
Motion to adjourn.
There you go.
I will second.
Thank you. I'll third it. All right, everybody.
Good night,
thanks for being
everybody.
here
Thank you,
tonight.
Hi,
Steve.
everyone.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye, Steve. Take care.
Thank you.